Right, hi guys, hope everyone's well. Rebo here. Been a long time. Well, okay, 3 or 4 weeks. Just been going through some changes in the game, clubs, balls, E-Tour clubs, mapping, you name it, it's been going on, lots of club stuff. So, yeah, I haven't been doing much in terms of recordings, videos, etc. But got a bit more time now and decided to do a video. Won't be playing anything. It's going to be sort of 45 minutes of me talking, but I think it's quite important. I've seen lots of people, I just see constant questions all the time about what club shall I buy, what ball shall I pair it with, why is it not doing what it should do, I've bought the wrong club, how do I swap it, how do I get it out of my bag, all of these kind of things. So wanted to make a little video to do what I see is the best thing to do with this fantastic game, frustrating game, complex game, game of many layers, and basically keep it simple. You keep simple in this game, it generally pays off. So just a little precursor to that. You'll probably note, if you've watched my streams before, I always played on PC, and here we have the beta platform in front of me, with my new pretty Puma outfit that I decided to invest 800 credits into for some reason. Somebody asked yesterday, do they do those trousers in men's sizes? So yeah, not sure about that, but hey, it's summer and we've got the pink flowery shirt on. So, beta. Beta is obviously the mobile game that has been launched for PC and Mac in beta format, or PC early access as some people refer it to. It's obviously not a finished product by the sounds of it, and it's been played by lots of people already, lots of people who are used to playing PC, or people who like the mobile game better than PC but prefer to play on PC. So there's lots of people using this now, and it is basically fundamentally the same game. It's more the same game as mobile than it is the PC Flash game. And I'm sure I'm not telling anybody anything new here, you probably all know that already. So moving swiftly on. The reason I'm using it, and I do prefer the PC game in terms of it replicating how golf is. I think the PC Flash is golf in a game, and I think the beta is a golf game. That might sound like not very much difference, but it really is. It's much more gamey. But it's still very good, and there's advantages to both sides, and I've been playing it for sort of third day full time, and I dabbled with it before, so I kind of knew what I was in for, but I'd always gone back to PC. The reason I've stuck to this now is because somehow, and I'm still slightly in shock about it, I managed to qualify for the E-Tour finals. Big shame it's not in Sweden. But you know, with what's going on in the world at the moment, it's hardly the biggest. Worry in the world. So anyway, the finals will be 8 players battling it out online sometime in June, I think. But I'm not quite sure how I made it. I don't like Congressional, never have. Put a lot of work into mapping clubs and things. Got a very lucky draw. First round, second round, third round, other people who'd withdrawn above me, so sort of masters and what have you had got buys through, and then played a fantastic player, Matt Mayer, in the final, who'd outscored me all week, and I don't know, from nowhere I found a 57 and minus 14, and managed to nick it. So very pleased about that, obviously, but obviously quite nervous at the prospect of playing on beta against the best players in the world, live on online, or whatever you want to call it, online TV. So that's why I've switched over to beta. The finals are on beta, and obviously you just can't play both. It's there's just too many crossovers. So I've dived in head first, and now using beta. So on to the main subject is really about club buying and ball buying. I'm going to start by just very quickly going to mine. I've been through an interesting journey with clubs. I think I got a lot of it right, with a lot of advice from my penalty boxers, my country club, some of the great players that we have in there, offering good advice, and also cocked up quite a few things as well. So I'm just going to try and, for anybody sort of starting the game or sort of mid-level, 30s, 40s level, 50s level, not sure of what to do, I want to try and create a couple of clear paths for people to feel confident about what they're doing and what they're buying, not wasting credits, etc. So firstly, I'm using the TaylorMade 93 ball. I've changed to this in the last 3 weeks, along with the 97 irons. I did them at the same time. I'll go on to more about why I did that later on. Just today got the 98 putter. I'm delighted about that because the 70 putters just seem to be just creating so many miss hits. So very pleased about that. Callaway 96 level driver, 287 distance, third best driver in the game, I believe. The 3 woods that pretty much nobody likes, doesn't matter what level they have. I mean, it's just because you're hitting lots of long shots that if you hit off, you get in trouble. But there we go, you need it for par 5s, and it is what it is. And then I've got 3 wedges, and this will come up in discussion quite a bit. I've got the 56 wedge, the 60 wedge, and the 64 Vokey, all the highest level that I can get with my level of 98. So we'll move away from me and on to other stuff. I do want to just talk very quickly about, where is it, edit equipment. Sort of, I find balls are a good sort of explanation of where you can go right and wrong. When you don't know things in the game, you try to outwit the game, or at least I did. And I ended up with 9 of these. I spent about 1,500 credits on them. I mean, I actually don't know how much they cost, but they had a meter speed of 5. I just got some irons. I think I bought irons that had a fast meter, so I tried to slow the meter down by buying this, but then obviously the spin went down. It was just a shamble. I don't think I've actually hit a shot with one of them because it was just a bad buy. So 15 credits down the pot there. And then really I've just got a selection of balls that are pretty decent that I've kind of gone to and then gone away from. But there's 3 standout balls in the game for me. Obviously, I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. There's many ways to do it. But the 3 standout balls for me are this at the early stages, 250 credits, I think. It just gives you a nice balance of different things. You've got 3.5 spin, which is quite key. So the level 33, so actually I'm going to do 4 balls, and then you've got the level 47 TaylorMade, which is basically the same as this, but just with better stats. So a bit more spin, bit more distance, bit more meter speed. So as you progress through the game, I would sort of recommend changing from that to that. You can stick with that for quite a while, and then really the best value ball in the game for me is this, the TaylorMade 81. Again, similar step up, just a bit more of everything, 4 spin, 5 distance, and you can use this pretty much. I mean, I know people at the top of the game who are using that ball, who are competing to win Tour Champions, weeklies and things. So, you know, terrific ball. And then I've gone to the 93 ball, which we're currently using here, and now you can see we've got 5 spin, 5.5 distance. A bit more expensive, 750 credits, but you know, it can win you stuff for thousands. So it's good investment if you're in a good place competitivity wise. So that's the ball. So now I'm going to sort of go to this creating a path. So I've actually already done the balls, really. So just very quickly, here's the 33 again. I sort of loaded it up just to check. So yeah, 33, then the 47 tailor-made, then the 81 tailor-made, then the 93 tailor-made, and a lot of people are using the level 87 Titleist, which gives a little bit more meter control and a bit more spin, I believe. So that's the ball thing. You can use starters, you can use Volvics, you can use all kinds of stuff. The Bridgestone slow meters. But I mean, look, there's so many traps out there. Oh, look, 7 meter. Let me have some of those. Durability 1? Really? Like, I mean, that's going to last for like a round. Spin 2, nothing. Distance 1, I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, they're all pretty much like that, I think. You know, this one's a bit better because it's got a 6 meter speed, but they're just sort of... It's a bit unfair on Bridgestone, in my opinion, really, because their balls are a lot better than that. This is a pretty good one, I guess, the 75, 4.5 spin. That's a good ball. That's 975 credits. I mean, yeah. So all I'm saying is that is a clear path that I'm kind of suggesting. Everyone can do obviously what they want, but I do think that is a fairly standard path to go through. Many of my friends and clubbies have done the same thing and all done quite well with it. So now we're going to get on to the bigger stuff. The last thing I'd also say about the balls is when you make a ball change, try and do it around when you're making a club change as well. Particularly with irons and wedges. Because if you do them together, you'll learn in the first few days that things are different, but you'll only have to do it once rather than adapting to new irons, then new irons with a new ball, then you add the wedges, so then you've got to remap your wedges. I just find it's much easier if you try and do them in one big sort of slot, which is what I've done over the past couple of weeks. Anyway. Just going to have a little rest of mouth for one moment. So drivers. For me, there's a really clear path with drivers. And again, I'm not going to go right to the bottom of the list. I'm going to start planning from level 30 onwards, really. There's lots of options. Again, just go to page 3 quickly. There's a cheap, good Callaway level 29. Could recommend that easily. I think the Sim driver is pretty good. What you're looking for really here is, if you can, is a high ball flight, a high trajectory. It's going to fly longer, helps in tailwinds. You can knock it down in headwinds if you want. Stops quicker on greens, on par 4s. So high trajectory is a key thing of driver. Go back to page 2. So again, like the ball, I'm going to give sort of four, maximum 5 recommendations of where to go. Number 1 target is this. The level 44 Callaway Epic. 270 distance, high trajectory. Meter speed isn't amazing, but it sort of trains you on being kind of focused on your meter speed. If you get a 4.5 meter speed with a 4.5 forgiveness, you can pretty much just point it down a fairway and hit it however you want, and it will go straight. So this is a really good club. Then you've got the temptation to swap to the 50. But you're losing distance, it's medium trajectory, yes it's a faster speed, again it's another trap, it's like the Bridgestone ball. They're saying, oh look, you can have a better driver. It's not better. 44 driver, number 1 target early in the game. Then, looking at, and there are some other options here, I can't remember, there's another tailor-made one that's quite handy. This one's a very good club, 277 medium height flight, but it's got 4.5 meter, 4.5 forgiveness, 4 precision. Really nice driver, but it's only 10 levels after the previous one. So you could sort of wait and not do the 44 Callaway and wait for this one if you've already got a, I don't know, a 29 Callaway, and just wait for this. But then your next problem is you definitely want this, the 74. So I sort of, my journey was 44 Callaway. I think I then did buy this as a sort of in-betweener because I was doing quite well and had lots of credits. But I think doing all three is a bit overkill. But this driver you definitely want. So I'd go for one of this or the 44 Callaway. But this is a no-brainer. Just an absolute class club. This is the one you just point down the fairway and hit it however you want. You can shut your eyes pretty much. 280 medium high, all the nice stats, happy days. Then the next goal is, and there's not a massive amount of difference. I think I'm forgetting the L85. I am, aren't I? So your decision here is it's a great club at 74. The levels start to get tougher, and then you've got a choice whether you want to swap this for this 74-85. I did. Again, if you're tight for credits, don't do both. There is no reason to change from this to this for 2 yards for 3,000 credits. So I think once you're on this, you probably stick, because then really what you're trying to do, and it does get slow, and that's the reason why, the only reason you'd really want to get this for the extra 2 yards is because it's really slow burner to this, which is the one I currently have. Now there's another trap here, and I fell in it. I fell in it willingly. Is this driver. So at 94, 2 levels before this, you've got exactly the same driver, but with a 3.5 meter speed, not 4.4 meter speed. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to buy this, and then basically a couple of levels later think, oh, I don't like the meter, so I want to get this. So really you should skip this, but I was at a point where those extra 7 yards, 5 yards over this, sorry, were really quite important. So, and I also bear in mind that probably the strongest part of my game was driving, and therefore I wasn't worried about the meter speed particularly. So I went with that, knowing that I was going to buy this shortly afterwards. So a really clear path I'm trying to give again: 44 Callaway driver or the 55 TaylorMade, and then you want the 74 TaylorMade or the 85, one of those two, or do them all if you're okay for credits or you've got some cash stacked under your bed. And then your target is the 96. Go the 94 if you want that extra distance, but the target is this, and then as soon as the 99 becomes, you have another choice because you've got another 2 yards here. Great driver again. If you've got the credits, you'll buy it. If you haven't, you'll ignore it, and then finally you get the big dog at the end. So again, pretty clear path. I think you can ignore 95% of the drivers and just stick to a choice of 5 or 6 and pick the best route for yourself. 3 wood. Again, for me, it's a really simple journey here. Early level. Where am I going? The really early level, you're looking at this. Either of those two are going to work for a while, and then once you sort of got up to the level 40s and 50s, you want to be looking at possibly this. Hang on, I've missed one. Where's me Callaway? At the top of this page. Probably say, sort of up to level 40, you're probably best to wait for this at 33. That's not too early. You can get there in a week or so. It's a pretty stable driver for a while. But really the sort of main driver that takes you up to the sort of 70 levels is this one here, the level 51 Callaway Epic. Great stats. 235 is not a massive distance, but it sort of helps you with that sort of in-between irons and hybrid as well. So yeah, this and then maybe this, or just stick with one of them. It's not a massive thing, the 3-wood, because you don't use it very often. It's important later in the game, but not so much at the beginning. And then you've got lots of choices. I mean, there's just epic Callaways everywhere. This is obviously a very good driver. This is the key one, the 86. I don't know how good the 73 is. It's not bad, but I wouldn't be upgrading the 51 from that. This is the one you want at 86. Great stats, 242, high, still wild when it wants to be. But that's what I currently hold. Is it? Do I own the 96? I can't remember. No, it's definitely this one. And that one will help for pretty much the journey up to mid-90s, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, 97 basically. Oh, sorry, no, 97 is the avoid one, because you've got a meter speed of 3.7 and forgiveness of 2.5. Total trap. Get to 97, think, oh, I want that extra 8 yards of distance for the par 5s. End up splashing balls in the water everywhere. So just avoid that at all costs, in my opinion. So yeah, the 86 3-wood is taking you until you get to the last driver, which is obviously very, very good, 250 and lots of great stats. So again, just basically a journey of TaylorMade and Callaways for me, where there's a very clear path that you can, and simple path you can use. So now we go on to the sort of the most important one in my eyes. Now there is one massive thing you want with irons as fast as you can, and that is a high trajectory. All the courses in this game, not all the courses, but a lot of the courses have high elevation, greens that are above you. Going in with an iron and a not very good ball, it's just not replicating what golf is. You have to land it in the rough to stop it on the green. You have to land it right on the edge of the front to stop it on the back, with full backspin on. So and it also gets you in the habit for later in the game of getting used to playing with a high ball flight and high spin wherever you can. Again, I'm going to give a really clear path of the irons that you should probably go for, in my opinion. And the start out ones are, as soon as you've got a few credits, if you can do it, are probably these, because you want to upgrade to the ping ones later as well. Only 2 spin, but you've got 4 meter speed. They're not very forgiving. They're not very long. There's actually probably other irons down at that level that you can get that will do as good or maybe even better job. Yeah, these at 36 look better. So really a sort of toss-up. I mean, but precision 1.5. I mean, really, whatever you're doing, it's sort of a kick in the face or a punch in the head. No, that's the wrong way around. Punch in the head or a kick in the balls. There you go. Which one you choose? One of those two probably I'd go for. These are medium, so no thanks. They're medium high, not bad. You could also go for those. But they're 37 level. One of those 3 are going to do you early on. Then what you want is these bad boys. So these are just checking the difference between those. They're 79. The L59 ping irons, and there is a better one at 69 apparently, but the meter speed's 2.5, so forgiveness 2, so no thanks. I'll pay the extra 200 early and have these with 4 meter speed, 2.5 forgiveness, 3.5. I used those, and they took me all the way up to the 85 irons, I believe. They're not great, but none of the irons are. But what you have got is the high trajectory, and that is the main reason to go for them. So yeah, one of the cheapos to start with, and then if you can, straight to the 59 ping I500, if I can spit my words out, irons. And And then really, I think these are all sort of fairly level 6. 3,000 credits! Oh, that's fantastic. Moving on. The Ben Hogans, they're not bad, but they're 75 and then you're close to the 85s anyway. So really there's not much going on down here. Medium flights. You could upgrade to those, but now you're 2 off the 85 Callaways anyway. They're not bad, but they're medium, so no. Max Iron's high, 1.5 meter, no. So ping I-559s, I-500, sorry, ignore the rest of these and then get straight into the 85 Callaway Apex 19 iron set. Good meter speed, good forgiveness, high ball flight, more distance. Tick, 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 no-brainer. And then really it's the 97s, which I just got a couple of weeks ago. Awesome, so high, so spinny. Just give you a lot more control over the 85s and a bit more forgiving as well. And then lots of people choose to buy these, but I don't really buy it, if I'm honest. It's 5,000 credits for what is 0.4 of meter speed, but while losing less meter speed, sorry, faster meter, but more forgiving. It doesn't equate to anything worthwhile to me, so I would just go as far as the 97s and stop. So that BD irons, and now we go to the wedges. So again, the goal here is to create a journey, a path, a simple path. Number one factor, don't be me and not buy a 64-degree wedge for the first 4 months of your game and ruin all your stats for the rest of your golf WGT career. I don't know why I did it. I was trying to be clever. I was trying to, I can't fit 3 wedges in my bag because I need a hybrid, so I have to drop a wedge. I'm sure I can manage with the 60 around the greens and use a 56 and 60. Stupid, stupid, stupid. You need the 64. You need it for all of the shots around the green, for wedges in. It's just a no-brainer. So get the first one you possibly can, which does create some problems with other wedges and the hybrid question. This is fine. It's 495 credits early in the game. Just get that and stick with it for a while. You can pretty quickly upgrade it to this 64 at 31 level, which is now quite expensive, and it's not much better. So you can stick with that Cleveland 64 for quite a long time, in my opinion. Your choice then is to not have a hybrid, which causes all kinds of problems. And what I would recommend is you then choose one wedge to go with your 64. Obvious thing to do is go for the one in the middle, and that would be because you've got 52s, 54s, 56s, 58s and 60s. The obvious one is the 56. If you go around with a 56 and a 64, you've still got most scoring shots covered. So I would be looking to have a 56 edition at the start of the game, probably that. But really the target is, and this is where you sort of shift over, you'd be surprised to hear me recommending the Callaways, is the 56 here and the 60 if you want to go to 3 wedges and drop your hybrid at this point, the 44 wedge and the 45 wedge. And this, what it does now is create a nice balance of 60 yards, 80 yards and 95 yards, and then your pitching wedge. And it gets you on the right track for what comes next. So get a 64, get a 56, and then around level 43, 44, you want to be putting these 2 bad boys in. That will carry you for a while, up to about 20 levels. And really then you should have lost the hybrid by this point. And you're basically upgrading Callaways at the 67 and 68 level. and now you've got 60 yards for your 64 degree, 80 yards for this, and 100 yards for that. Really nice pattern, 60, 80, 100. All the shots in between can be covered nicely. Other ways to do it, not saying it's the only way, again, but this is a clear path. So you can pretty much live with the Titleist 31 64 degree up until level 80. Even that Cleveland wedge isn't terrible. It would be one of the ones that, if you're tight for credits, it would be one of the ones I'd probably leave in the bag for over improving your driver. But once you get to level 80, you want this for sure. Fantastic club. It's just great for everything. So really, you're now in a shape where at level 56 to 80, your plan is this one, and this one. You also have the choice of buying the other Vokeys to match them, but matching doesn't really make any difference. It's not like them sitting in a bag together makes them play any better than having two Callaways in a Titleist. I just found, and this is where it's a path, is if you've gone down this route, there's no reason then to suddenly go, ooh, I want these, because shortly afterwards, you've got these. So you sort of want to skip. You want to be Titleist or you want to be Callaway and skip the ones in between each way. But these ones you want 100%. 56 and 60, you're basically just replacing the 56 and 60 twice for better options. And what you should end up with in your bag is this, this, and this. And if you stick to that, you're pretty much sorted on your wedges. So that's wedges. I'm not going to talk putter. So we're sort of done on that subject. I hope that helps a few people to get themselves a clear path. There's obviously, I mean, I don't know how much I've just spent in that conversation, but I would imagine it's probably 50k or more, maybe 60k. It's a lot of credits. So you don't have to do all of them. All I would say is that I know a lot of people play coin rooms, which I'll never really understand that much because it just doesn't do anything for me at all. But you just can't win anything. So you can't upgrade your clubs in coin rooms. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Other than I know people like to play head to head than they do on their own. Me personally, you get more people out there that are abusive than anything else. So listen, each to their own. All I'm saying is the best way to be able to upgrade all your clubs is to win credits in tournaments. So rather than get yourself in this vicious circle of coin rooms where you're just buying coins, saving coins, buying apparel, none of it really makes any difference. The most enjoyable part of the game, I would have thought, for most people is to win tournaments, to compete in tournaments, to top 10 in tournaments, to win credits, get their prize, buy a new club, buy some new balls. Yeah, I just don't get the coin room side of it if you're not using the credits that are in front of you. And also, make sure you get your 150 credits a day by watching videos. You know, that's... My maths isn't very good today, but that's over 1,000 credits a week. You get your videos every day. You can buy yourself a club pretty much every 2 weeks. What is that? I mean, 1,100. So in a year you can earn 50,000, which is pretty much what you want for your clubs. So then you've only got your balls to worry about. So yes, that's the story on the clubs and the ball side. So, last part. And I'm sorry if I'm going on, you probably switched off by now, but I'm going to finish. I've started, so I shall finish. So I told you that I sort of been away for 3 weeks from doing recordings and things. Basically trying to sort this out. So I've gone from an 85 set of irons and an 81 ball, which is a combination of about 8 spin, to these two, 93 ball and a 97 irons, which is a combination of about 10 spin. I don't know that for a fact. It's just more spin. What does more spin do? Number one, higher. Number two, spinnier. And the combination of that, number three, stops faster on the greens. All things that are good. You could argue that the higher flight in high winds causes more problems, and I would say that it's something that I am looking at in terms of if you play in 30 winds, you basically have to play with reduced spin is the best way of describing that, just to keep the ball down a little bit. So I planned this pretty well. I was ready for it, and I decided to make this change together. So then what I did was, and I had some help from my good friend Mr. Whole Lion, and he had already gone to the club and ball. He'd gone much harder at XP than I had. So he'd already done some mapping of the irons and distances. So thanks to him, he was a big help for that. But I just want to run through for people to understand sort of what club mapping is about. Firstly, what's the goal? Well, really, I started with this sheet listed with all the clubs, and I wanted to know what full backspin, full power was, 80% backspin, 60% backspin, no spin. And I also wanted to know if I played full backspin with 90% power, 95, 97.5, what distances would I get out of those? So I started with a blank sheet. All of these were empty. And I went to Kiowa Island Pumper. So that's in your country club. You should have some tournaments listed where basically there to sort of pump your average down. I don't really know why people do that. There's some sort of ego involved in destroying front tee, no wind courses to get their average down. It's not representative of the game. Anyway, it's a different subject. But they're very useful for course mapping, for club mapping. So I went to the Kiowa Island first hole, and I just started hitting shots. You can do it in practice mode and take mulligans, which is probably the best way to do it. It's a more expensive way to do it, but it's definitely quicker and less painful. But I chose to go down the pumper route to start with, and all I'd do is go on the first tee up a 3-iron down the middle of the fairway, try and pick a 0 to 2 wind, preferably side, so that you get the best possible circumstance to get an average number out. If I hit the ding, I'd put it in with a question mark. If I missed the ding, I'd leave it empty, and go back and hit it again, just restart or hit some other shots and then go and restart again. So what you can do then is, so you get, let's say I got the 220 question mark in with a ding. I've now got 140 yards into the hole. I wouldn't be aiming on the green because I don't want to waste a shot. You only get 10 shots on the hole, and you've just taken 4 restarts to get a nice wind. So I'd aim left of the green, hit the 8-iron, full backspin. Make sure you've got top tracer on or whatever the shot stats tracker are, and just picture where it lands. Again, hit ding, put the number in with a question mark. If you don't hit ding, hit it backwards. So that's the next stage. You've missed the green left, you aim backwards, reset to full shot, point back down towards the tee, and hit another one. And you just start building up numbers bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. So I did all of these first, this line first. Oh, and that's important. So why is one in yellow and one in green? Tee shots, for anyone who doesn't know, and I didn't know this until 6-7 weeks ago. We're always learning. Tee shots go further than fairway shots by about 5 yards at the top end and about 2 or 3 yards at the lower end. So you need to have fairway and tee mappings. So then, once I got these filled out, I then went back to the tee and hit 80% backspin, 2 clicks on mobile beta, 2 clicks off, approximately, and just did the same process. Then started in the fairway hitting 80% shots near the green, aim backwards, pick the next club, go back, so on, so forth. cover that. So then I wanted to deal with the power, because you want as many options into holes as possible. That's the other thing to say, is the more you go up in clubs, you've got 120 to 225 there, difference between pitching wedge and 3-iron. 110 to, I mean, that's quite similar. There are others that are less. But what you'll find is that you've got bigger gaps between the clubs, so you've got more holes, in more gaps in your plan to what you want to hit. So if I've got 177-yard shot in from the fairway, can't hit that, 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 can't hit that. So if I want to go to 177 on spin, I've basically got to go to 50% spin shot, which is fine. You know, that can work. But it sort of changes the dynamic of the shot. If you've got a wind value assigned to your clubs, then suddenly you're putting it 15 foot less in the air, and the wind's going to affect it less, so it changes things. So you're sort of staggering around, looking for 177 here. What you want is just to be able to hit a slightly less powered 5-iron. So then mapping these clubs again, and this is all full backspin. And you will lose a little bit of height, and you will lose a little bit of spin by taking power off, because there's less spin created. But it just means that you've got options everywhere. There's always a number generally you can fudge, even if it's in the most difficult circumstance. So my recommendation for anybody buying new stuff, new ball, new irons, try and get it to do it in little packages. And then go out and map your clubs if you want to be accurate. And everyone in this game is always saying, "Oh, it went 15 yards further than it should have." Listen, I do it as well. All I can say is that by doing this, you're reducing the amount of mistakes you're going to make. And I think it's quite nice in the game not to be able to. It's to sort of tick boxes of things that you're not sure about. You don't know if it's the wind, you don't know if it's you don't know if it's the arrow, you don't know if it's the clubs, you don't know if you mapped them wrong. So if you get this right, it takes one aspect of doubt out of the game. You can even start fiddling around with, I want to use this as an example, pitching wedge. Alright, so let's talk about the Wolf Creek hole 15. I think it's 15. Short par 3, down the hill, 30 feet down, 110 yards to 130 yards. It's always difficult to pick a shot there, especially if you've got spin on your clubs, because the ball, even in heavy tailwind, will land on the green and spin back. So having variations while you're out there mapping of shots. Pebble Beach 7th hole is another classic example of just having options of different spin rates, different power. So one of my favourites, I don't like the pitching wedge at all with spin on, but what I use it quite a lot for is that hole at Wolf Creek, using a no-spin pitching wedge to control the spin and the flight. And so I've got numbers here listed: 115 yards with no spin at 90% power. So just little notes of useful things that you can find yourself building across time that help with different holes. Bandon Dunes, par 3, for instance, is a nightmare of elevation sometimes, and all of these little notes can help you out. So I think that's sort of about it. I know my mouth's tired, so that's got to be an example of the fact I've been talking for too much. So I just hope that it's helped out, even if it just helps out one person. Then job done. But it was something that I think is overlooked in the game an awful lot. Is people just buy things and expect them to work. If you keep a clear path, you'll save credits, you'll save time, you'll save frustrations, and there's lots of ways to do it. But if you follow that path that I've described, you can't really go too far wrong. So I'll love you and leave you at that point. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to bash them in the comments or contact us on Facebook. I'll post the video on Facebook too. But in the meantime, stay safe, be well, stay positive, and hopefully we'll all be out of this soon. Thanks for watching.